copra del suo manto e me protegga vigile di Dio l'angelo santo.
We're in the height of the Christmas shopping season. It had its beginnings the first week of October in many of the stores across the country. The stores started clamoring for part-time workers to fill the demand because of the great economy. It's anticipated that people will be going in droves to the stores to find those gifts that will be meaningful for their loved ones. Hello, I'm Brent Carlson. Welcome to Brethren Voices. Christmas shopping is something that we deal with every year. That cycle has come around again this year, and again, we with Brethren Voices would like to give you some alternative gift-giving ideas for the persons on your list, those who already have a lot of stuff. These alternative ideas are designed to give some real meaning to that Christmas spirit and will provide life-changing assistance to another person or family who is dealing with hurricane disaster, devastation, or the lack of opportunities that we all take for granted. We in the Church of the Brethren are involved in many acts of service. It's who we are. We become involved with those who are not able to rebuild their lives themselves following life-changing hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, and floods. We provide countless hours of childcare for children whose parents are dealing with the red tape of applying for disaster assistance and attempting to get their lives back together. So one of our gift-giving ideas is a contribution to the Brethren Disaster Ministries Fund, where you can really make a difference. Or maybe you would like to volunteer for a week at one of the rebuilding sites. Following Superstorm Sandy, which hit the east coast of the United States a few years ago, we visited one of the rebuilding sites of Brethren Disaster Ministries. You're about to wrap up.
That's right. Today's the last day.
And you're here from California? Where in California?
A little fishing community called Trinidad, just south of the Oregon border.
Okay. All right. What brings you to Disaster Ministries as a project leader?
Well, you know, we have my wife and I have things pretty good. We're both retired now, so we have the time to go ahead and spend the time to come to something like this. I've been a contractor and she's been a registered nurse, so we thought that when we initially signed up that'd be a pretty good fit. She could take care of running the household and so forth, and I could get out on the job site and do some work on the job site.
Have you worked with Disaster Ministries before?
Well, we've been doing this for about 10 years.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. I think this is our 10th year out.
So you've been on lots of projects all over the country.
Oh yeah, yeah. Our first one was in Florida. In fact, the first 2 times were in Florida. We've been to Mississippi, American Samoa even, after the tsunami out there. Alabama, Indiana. I can't even remember them all.
So what would you say is the most meaningful part of being a long-term project leader?
Well, I think the first thing that struck me was when we decided we wanted to do the disaster recovery, we thought we'd go out and we'd help some people get back in their houses. And that was fine, and that's what we do. The benefit that I didn't realize that we were going to get was the people that you meet, not only the people that you're working for, but all the people that come in that you're working with. A great group of people. You know, some of them take their only week of vacation a year to come in. They're happy people. They have a good time, but yet they'll do anything that you ask them to do. All levels of skill.
So you're as a long-term project leader, you're on the project for a month or so?
Yeah, a month every year.
And then you have people coming in from all over the country.
That's right.
A week at a time.
Yes.
And these are people you haven't met before.
Well, having been doing it for so long, there are people that come back that we do know. There's several people in this particular group that we've already worked with before.
Okay. And what kind of things does a project leader do?
Well, you come into a house like this one, It can be any level of things. We might come in at the very beginning and do a bill of material for the kinds of things that we have to do in the house. If we have to do plumbing, or if we have to do drywall or insulation or carpentry work, whatever, we make a list for the bill of material so that we can get the material in. Then you direct all of the volunteers to actually get the work done.
So if they have questions about what they're doing or what they need to do, they're going to talk to you.
They're going to talk to me, and sometimes I can answer them.
Mind you, you're working on a water heater.
Yes, yeah, we're plumbing this thing up now.
Okay, and I understand the water heater and a lot of other things were just in the basement and were destroyed when the basement flooded in this house.
That's right, yeah.
So they've been relocated. And
been relocated, that's right.
All right, well, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you and nice to be with you.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you very much.
Recently, Hurricane Matthew caused significant serious damage as it hit Haiti and the U.S. mainland the first part of October. Brethren Disaster Ministries has made plans to assist the rebuilding effort, and your gift will be an important part of that effort. Please check out www.brethren.org/BDM. Or again, perhaps you would like to volunteer with Brethren Disaster Ministries. That would be a great gift. And if you're not able to do that, please send a check on behalf of that person on your list who already has everything.
Hi, I'm Alton Brown, and I used to have a goat. Where did my goat go? Well, it went to a family who really needed it, just like the heifer cow I used to have and the water buffalo, which was really too big for my place anyway. Now, why send livestock? Why not say tractors? Because giving an animal is like giving someone a small business. All that wool, the milk, the eggs turn into income for medicine, school, clothing, a better home, a sustainable livelihood. It even produces fertilizer for crops. And of course, it makes more livestock, because you know, animals make baby animals. That's what they do. The next thing you know, the family that you gave your gift to is passing on the gift of the animal's offspring to another family who does the same thing, and so on, until pretty soon you have helped to lift an entire community out of poverty, all with your gift to Heifer International. That is a recipe for lasting change.
Our second recommendation for alternative Christmas giving is the Nigerian Crisis Fund. Brethren have provided much support during the past few years to the church in Nigeria, but the need continues to be great. Ecclesiar Yanyua A Nigeria, or EYN for short, which is the Church of the Brethren in Nigeria, is the hardest hit group by the Boko Haram terrorist group. Other Christian churches and Muslim groups have been impacted, but not to the degree that EYN has been affected. Over 1,600 churches or church branches were burned or abandoned, which is nearly 70% of the EYN church buildings in the whole country. In Nigeria, more than 1,350 women and children were kidnapped, many of whom were EYN members. Over 11,000 EYN members have been killed, and all of EYN's national leadership was displaced in 2014 and 15. For EYN members, the church is the center of their community. It functions as a family's life revolves around the church and provides a safe space for many faith and community activities. It is difficult for a community to fully recover without their local church. EYN programs, including the Integrated Community Development Program, have been severely hurt through this crisis. An estimated 700,000 EYN members were displaced, and now finally, an estimated 40% of those displaced are able to begin moving back to their home areas, with the exception of those in the Nigeria-Cameroon border area, which continues to be very dangerous and unsafe. We wish to thank David Sullenberger for his production, The Long Journey Home.
As individuals go home, they find that everything they have built up over a lifetime is destroyed and gone. If they had animals, they're gone. If they had a house, it's often destroyed. And all their possessions are gone, so they're starting their lives from scratch.
It's hard to imagine what members of the Church of the Brethren in Nigeria, Ecclesia Yanawa on Nigeria, or EYN, have gone through. Thousands more fleeing for their lives into the mountains, ending up in Cameroon, in refugee camps, or with friends and relatives across Nigeria. Kept alive only by an incredible relief effort from brethren in the United States and international partners. Northeast Nigeria is somewhat more secure now, and many people have returned home. But they're finding their homes burned, their crops destroyed, their lives still uncertain.
And some of the villages are still unsecure because the terrorists are attacking from time to time in some of the extreme rural areas.
A lot of areas are not safe, and just in the last week we've heard numerous reports of different bombings and attacks on some of the villages again.
They looted everything, animals gone, houses burnt down, every valuable taken. So shops have been vandalized. Even very rich people have now become very poor. But we still come back to our homes because this is our home.
The large church in Michigan was burned when Boko Haram invaded the town in September of 2014, killing 2 members of the church as they fled. It's now a pile of rubble. But with Michigan relatively secure and an estimated 60% of the people having returned, church services have resumed in a temporary worship center. The church's school is back in operation, with students meeting under trees for class. Classes have also resumed at EYN's comprehensive secondary school, across from the church headquarters in Quarry. And Cult Bible College is back in operation, a year after students and faculty ran into the bush for their lives and walked for days to safety, escaping Boko Haram forces who had invaded and occupied the region. 2 students were killed by Boko Haram during the invasion. Both the college and the nearby church headquarters, while ransacked, incurred only limited damage. Here as elsewhere across EYN, the Nigerian Brethren give thanks for the response to the crisis from their partners in the U.S. and Europe, more than $2.7 million of relief aid and ministry.
The people of the Church and the Brethren have given sacrificially, and the response has been way better than anybody ever thought possible. But there's still a lot of work to go.
New staff housing and a hospitality center were built in Jos. A warehouse was purchased to house relief supplies. Pastors who lost their churches were supported financially. Food and necessities have been purchased and distributed to displaced people. Church funds helped finance 2 care centers, which have provided housing for families who cannot return to their homes. Another care center sponsored by EYN near Yola is under construction. All of them have or will have a church and a medical clinic as part of the complex. The care center at Gurku, administered by EYN liaison Marcus Gamachi, offers a place to live for both Christians and Muslims.
We have now built 62 houses, and we have 72 families now here on the camp. And we still have 56 families that are still renting houses and apartments in the host community.
The care center at Masaka, built with Brethren funds, is home to another 70-some families who live in areas where it's too dangerous to return.
Many Christians aside, if they come home, they will collectively come and kill some of us Christians. We don't want to go home now until we see how it is.
Adamu, who is the camp chairman, was among those who experienced the trauma healing workshop sponsored by EYN, a key part of peace-building efforts in the church, in partnership with Mennonite Central Committee. These workshop participants, who have now been trained to lead other workshops throughout the church, help both Christians and Muslims deal with the terror of losing their homes and, more importantly, family members to the violence.
All of us here have been affected in one way or the other. So we know what we have passed through, and it is our hope that now that we are healed, we want to go out there and help other people to be healed from their traumas.
This man, a Muslim, said the 3-day workshop helped to heal his soul.
A little bit of life has come to me, so it's something to me to forgive what happened past. So I'm very grateful for that.
Trauma healing will likely be a major focus of EYN in Nigeria for years to come, and will include sessions for children, many of whom lost their parents at the hands of Boko Haram. A partner in this work is Children's Disaster Services, an arm of Brethren Disaster Ministries. Education for children is a critical part of trauma recovery and a major focus of the crisis response. Brethren funds have helped several schools resume education that had been suspended for thousands of children for over a year.
Many of them, they lost all their parents. Some, maybe the husbands and the wives were there.
Naomi's school in Jos serves mostly EYN children whose parents were killed by Boko Haram. EYN members Becky and Paul Gadzama started 2 schools with funding from the Nigeria Crisis Fund under the name Education Must Continue, one of which meets in this abandoned government building in the town of Lassa.
We planned to set up the school for 150 children. Within 3 weeks, the number jumped to 1,000, over 1,000. And then by 11th December 2015, we had 2,017 children enrolled in the school.
It's a top priority for us to go and start something for the community to know that they should not give up on education.
Another major initiative of the Nigerian crisis response provides training and empowerment for women in the church, many of whom have become widowed by the violence.
Most of these widows are as a result of this insurgency, and most of them are young with their children.
EYN churches have reported some 3,000 members classified as widows, but the number is likely much higher.
Being widowed is very, very difficult in this society. One thing, they have their 6 or 8 children. They can't pay the school fees. They can barely feed the children. They have no way of earning any income. So Susan Mark has an aggressive program of trying to educate women, get some empowerment to them so that they can pick up and help themselves.
For Haja Ladi, it was tools needed to make soup and other food. And for this woman, a machine to grind corn.
She came with her husband, but they don't have anything. So she said she was just helpless when they gave her this processing machine.
A similar program run by Rebecca Dolly's nonprofit agency, the Center for Caring, Empowerment, and Peace Initiative, trains widows and orphans to use the computer or the sewing machine, or gives them the ability to make soap, something they can do once they return to their village.
Some are already in their villages. Before, they couldn't go because they have nothing to do at home. They are now back into their community and then doing the things that they learn.
Many people who have returned to their villages will need help to rebuild their homes, which is another goal for 2016.
Many families are returning home, so we're changing the response to really look at how we can provide rebuilding kits, how we can really help people begin to support themselves again and feed themselves.
When the crisis in Nigeria became urgent, brethren in the U.S. and partner agencies walked alongside those who were suffering, who were homeless, who were dealing with many losses. Now funds are needed to help EYN members grow their own food, to help widows learn marketable skills, to reach out to children through schools and programs to help them deal with emotional trauma, support for widows and orphans, peace-building efforts, trauma healing workshops, repairing burned and damaged homes, strengthening the church. All are needed as our brothers and sisters of EYN begin the long journey home.
A 5-year plan, a comprehensive $11.2 million program that establishes priorities developed in collaboration with the EYN is in progress. 2 funds have been established, the Nigerian Crisis Fund and the EYN Church Rebuilding Fund. Please check out the website www.brethren.org/Nigeria Crisis to assist in your decision to support these efforts. Our last gift-giving suggestion is a gift to the New Community Project, which is a brethren-related organization that has a big goal: to change the world by changing the way we relate to this wonderful planet and its people. Give a Girl a Chance is a special project which assists women and girls in places like Myanmar, Nepal, South Sudan, the Congo, and the Dominican Republic. It's a way to assist girls and women to get the education and training they need to live healthy and productive lives. During the past year, Brethren Voices featured Give a Girl a Chance and their director, David Radcliffe.
Our organization tends to try to look for the most marginalized people in society, and how can we be in conversation with them and support of them, even as we learn from them and allow them to share their voice with us. And of course, in a global society, young women are some of the most disadvantaged and disenfranchised people in many, many cultures. And so from the very beginning, I knew that the people in our network, as they're learning about these things, they want to do something. We all like to know that there's some action we can take or something we can move forward with these concerns we have. And so from the very beginning, we've had a program called Give a Girl a Chance, which works with local groups. In South Sudan, it's the Girl Child Education Development Association. In Nepal, it's the Shakti Samuha, a bunch of women who are former sex workers. In Myanmar, it's a Baptist development organization. We go with whoever's an available partner for us. And then we provide the funding, and these organizations then facilitate giving the grants to the most needy young women in the community, and also overseeing them to make, mentoring them kind of, to make sure they can follow ahead and stay on track with their education. It's included things like providing hygienic kits for girls in communities. I mean, as a male, I wouldn't have known the needs that young women have for personal hygiene, and yet our partners in Sudan said this is something that's very important. These girls are missing a few days of school a month, they get behind, they drop out, and so now a big part of our grant to South Sudan is for hygienic kits. Mm-hmm. They go not just to the girls we're giving scholarships to, but to all the girls in all the communities, all the girls in all the schools in the communities where we're working. So we just opened also a new program in Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo. We found a Church of the Brethren person there that had a congregation going. He was very interested in equipping and empowering women and girls in his community. And so for the last year and this year and moving ahead to the future, we're supporting programs there as well. We provide training through our partner there for women to get, young women and older women to get involved in tailoring courses.
Tailoring might
as in sewing, making clothes, really making clothes, mending and making. Treadle machines. So we provide the machines and the trainer. The women come and enroll. They graduate. Then we will sell them the machine at cost that they can pay back over time, because they're business women now, and this wasn't my decision. But our partners there said, these women, they're making income. We shouldn't just give them the machine. Yeah. And so they can buy the machine back at cost over time, $10 a month or something. So Silverio went through the program, graduated with flying colors, got out, bought her own machine, and then her own tailoring shop. And so she's able to keep her daughters in school now. Wow. So there, we haven't talked a lot about our women's programs. That's a big part of our work too. But in this case, it helped the woman keep her own daughter in school, which to me would be the ideal situation. I'd rather for a parent themselves to have the wherewithal to send their own kids to school rather than depending on somebody from the outside. So a big part of our program, Brent, if I may say this, in differentiation maybe from some international economic theories, we'd like to capacitate people to be successful within their own economies. I don't want to see them run off to a sweatshop or run off to some other country to find work because there's nothing available in their economy, or they haven't got the skills to take advantage of it. So we're trying to help women, particularly in this case, find a way to earn enough income in their own economy. They both, can take care of themselves and their families and their own communities, and they don't have to either themselves or their kids run off to the sweatshops in the big city to make stuff for us for pennies that, of course, was sold for a nice price back here at home. These are kind of like seeds you're sowing. Yeah. You don't know how it's going to work out for all these girls. I mean, the tangible, immediate thing is you kept them likely out of an early marriage and having children when they weren't ready to. In fact, they say in South Sudan, a 15-year-old girl is more likely to die in pregnancy and childbirth than to graduate from high school.
Wow.
Well, we had 50 girls graduate from high school last year that we supported with scholarships. So you're helping them get out of that and at least get them that first step toward a more promising future. And kind of how it develops from there is up to a lot of things, but you feel like you're just trying to do your part.
So blue, shades of green, death of death, things unseen, pen with ink, pages wide, faithful test, with the seeds of doubt planted in my mind. Make me a heart of gold, make me white as snow. And the shadows and their countrymen gladly take me by the hand. They'll tell me where to go through the darkest of my soul.
Check out www.newcommunityproject.org for more information. Any size contribution will be very much appreciated. And this year, any donation will be doubled, thanks to a matching grant they have right now. So your gift will go twice as far and do twice as good. As always, 100% of the donations will be sent to this special project. Well, there you have it. Some ideas that can be meaningful for the recipients and allow your special someone to appreciate this Christmas season much more than they anticipated. And we're serious about the volunteer opportunities with Brethren Disaster Ministries. On a project, you'll have a chance to meet some very nice people as you assist in the rebuilding efforts of Hurricane Matthew or other disasters. As we conclude, we want to wish you a very merry holiday season from all of us at Brethren Voices. For Brethren Voices, this is Brent Carlson wishing you peace.